folks, welcome back to K-Dogs Goes to the Movies. Now, here's the thing, this is Thanksgiving weekend. And a lot of people have been just going around, just there's some people that have been shopping around for the Black Friday sales. Some people choose to stay home. Well, this is for the people that choose to stay home or whatever you want to do this. We're going to do a marathon all together in one. So I'm going to be showing some movies as the time will allow. Now, some of these are family oriented. Some of them are a little bit more harder edge, like a PG-13 maybe. But yeah, we're just going to keep going until until I feel like stopping. In the meantime, also while we're showing these films, I'm going to be putting my Christmas tree up, and we'll see how that kind of progresses throughout the evening as we go along. So we're going to kick things off with a film from 1996. Now, the reason why I chose this film is because just recently ESPN Films has decided, or they made a documentary that was shown on Netflix, and they just released it to Blu-ray and DVD, called The Last Dance, about the 1990s Chicago Bulls, and then 1998 when it all came crashing down. So, in honor of that, I'd like to take us back to 1996 with a little movie that Michael Jordan himself starred in. And the interesting thing is The Last Dance is produced by ESPN, which is owned by Disney. This was produced by Warner Brothers, because throughout the 90s, Michael Jordan did several commercials with Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes. So they decided to eventually make a full-length feature film featuring Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes. What am I talking about? Space Jam from 1996. Yeah, in which sequel is in post-production with LeBron James doing the title role. So dim the lights, gather the family around. This is kind of a family flick. You'll hear my thoughts about it at the end of the film. As in the meantime, it's lunchtime for me, so also I'm going to be eating some leftover pizza. So yeah, grab your family around, grab your whatever drinks, snacks, whatever, as we watch Space Jam from 1996, produced by Warner Brothers. So roll film.
When the world's greatest athlete, Michael Jordan, teams up with the world's best-loved cartoon character, Bugs Bunny, you won't believe your eyes.
Pardon me, Mr. Jordan. Could I have your your John Hancock?
What's going on here?
We need your help!
You heard of the Dream Team? Well, we're the Mean Team.
Ready?
Yeah!
Doc,
Yeah.
you kick it in here.
You go to the hole
and dominate. We on defense.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, I don't play defense.
Warner Brothers presents Jordan,
Bugs
Bunny.
Special delivery!
Together, they just might save the world. Space Jam. You've never seen anything like it.
Mwah!
So the Toon Squad won the game with Michael Jordan helping after the little aliens stole the talents from several NBA players, including Muggsy Bogues, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, and several others, and Larry Johnson. Yeah, I remember Larry Johnson now because he also had a set of commercials. You ever met my grandmama? That was really big in the early 1990s. What I remember of Space Jam when it was being released was that it was a movie that it wasn't a great movie, but when it came out, we wore the dickens out of the videotape and just watched it over and over and over again. And of course, at the time, it kind of parodies what was going on in Michael Jordan's actual basketball career. He did leave for, I believe, about a year and a half to go play baseball instead of basketball. He retired once, left, went to go play baseball, completely stunk at it, and then decides to come back. Well, the people at Warner Brothers thought, well, why don't we take those commercials that Michael had been making, put it to a 90-minute or feature-length film, and kind of parody that, and that's kind of what happened. At the time, it wasn't the best regarded film because I remember people like Siskel and Ebert, they didn't really praise the movie, but they did, give kudos to Michael Jordan, being his first full-length feature film and acting debut. So, it was just things like that. But of course, growing up, we wore the dickens out of that tape because Michael Jordan was still in the NBA. He was still breaking records and flying higher than ever. The only thing that we didn't really care for was the R. Kelly song. I Believe I Could Fly got played and played and played and played. So much so that even your grandmother was wanting to listen to I Believe I Could Fly. Okay. So, also, while we're doing this marathon, I told you I was going to put my Christmas tree up. Well, right here, as you can see this tote right here, underneath this glasses, or these cups, I did go out to my garage, get my Christmas tree out, while we watch our next film. And this is a film from 2001. It was a summer movie. It was not a huge hit. I think if it came out later, it probably would have been. And it's a Steven Spielberg movie in tribute to Stanley Kubrick. A film called AI Artificial Intelligence. Very well criticized film of 2001, but it just didn't do well. A lot of people who were fans of Stanley Kubrick, they were the ones that really criticized this movie. But we're going to play this film. The film stars Haley Joel Osment, just coming off of The Sixth Sense fame, and Jude Law. And of course, there's some other actors in here. I forget who is all in here. We also got Francis O'Connor, Brendan Gleeson, and William Hurt. So yeah, there we go. And this was again released in 2001, directed by Steven Spielberg, released by DreamWorks Pictures and Warner Brothers Pictures. It was a co-production. So again, in the meantime, I'm going to be putting up the tree as we're watching this film. This one's a little bit longer, and it does make you want to tear up at the end. So yeah. So sit back, relax as we watch AI, Artificial Intelligence, from 2001. Boy, I always liked that one. I remember seeing that in the theater for back in 2001 when it originally played, and it never ages. To me, that movie never aged. It still looks pretty good, even it's 19 years old. Um, yeah, that was AI, Artificial Intelligence, directed by Steven Spielberg, and it was originally going to be a project by Stanley Kubrick. And for many years it went back and forth, being whether Stanley Kubrick was going to direct it or Steven Spielberg was going to direct it, but they were both involved at the time, and this was around 1993 eventually when it was going to be made. But then Stanley Kubrick made the idea to possibly not use a real boy, and he wanted to originally use a puppet, an animatronic puppet. But it was Steven Spielberg that talked him out of it and said, no, you need a real actor to play this part, because a puppet's not going to be able to do what you want it to do. And it's going to give you so many problems on the set. And so, originally, Joseph Mazzello was cast. Now, Joseph Mazzello had worked with Steven Spielberg on Jurassic Park. He played the character of Tim. He was originally cast, but then Stanley Kubrick decided to put the whole project on hold while he was developing Eyes Wide Shut. And so many years passed, and they kept in touch whether they were going to work on the project or not. And then when Stanley Kubrick had passed away, Steven Spielberg thought he should make the film and have it come to light, and to see Stanley Kubrick's vision come to life. And see, that's the thing that this film really gets criticized on by Stanley Kubrick fans, is that they believe that Steven Spielberg tarnished what was going to be Stanley Kubrick's dark vision, when actually it was the exact opposite. Stanley Kubrick was going for more of the sentimental, sweet, and gentle type premise, while Steven Spielberg was the one going for the dark side. But yeah, a lot of fans of Kubrick have criticized Steven Spielberg for tarnishing this movie, and that's some people believe that's partially why it didn't do so well, and but it did better internationally than it did domestically. I myself loved this movie when it came out. It's a movie I think still holds up. The visual effects in this movie definitely hold up. Yeah, it is CGI, but there's a lot of CGI, but also there's a lot of practical stuff in there too. You gotta keep in mind that this was 2001. Digital effects were the standard of special effects, but at the same time, directors were saying, no, we still need to keep a little bit of practicality into these movies by having puppets, puppets, miniatures, and slow motion photography, because there's a lot of miniature photography in this film, as well as puppets that were created by Stan Winston. Did a brilliant job of creating the special effect puppets and some of the makeup effects for the characters. Also, the and ILM did a fantastic job of blending those characters together because the character of Teddy, if you pay attention, it hands off from the digital to a real animatronic puppet. Obviously, when Teddy has to run across the scene in the background, that's obviously a digital teddy bear. But if he's just sitting beside David and having a conversation, that's obviously an animatronic bear. And there are some scenes where they did have a walking puppet, and it's disguised very well that it's a puppet. But yeah, this is a movie I think just technologically it holds up very well. Unfortunately, it was beaten out by the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, at the time. And that movie was groundbreaking in itself, but some of the effects in Lord of the Rings don't hold up very well. Yeah, it's now what you see is pretty much standard in films. Well, but as you can see, if you can kind of see back here, I do have my tree lit up. I'm working on ornaments. So working on getting some ornaments up, and I've got my ornaments out. I don't know if, no, they're not in the shot. So yeah, I got ornaments out. One thing I was going to say about AI is there's so many cameos in this movie. There were so many cameos in that movie. There was just in the voice cast. Did you catch who they were? It was because they had Meryl Streep was the Blue Fairy, Robin Williams was Dr. No, Ben Kingsley was the specialty robot, and Chris Rock was the one that they stick on that shooting thing, and it went to the fan and burst into flames. But yeah, now it's time to fortify the house because we're going to show the 2002 hit movie Signs, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, starring Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix. Yes, it was a hit movie at the time. However, it has not aged very well. The fans are very, very critical of this movie. It's a fun movie. I can't deny it. So we're gonna watch it. And in the meantime, I'm gonna be working on this tree and finishing it up, getting the rest of the ornaments on. So yeah, lock your doors and windows, board up everything, because it's Signs, released by Touchstone Pictures in 2002. Roll it.
What can make geometric shapes the size of a football field?
What kind of machine can bend a stalk of corn over without breaking it?
Can't be by hand, it's too perfect.
So the aliens can't read our minds.
Oh.
Some animals around the county have been acting funny. Some of them violent. It's almost like they act when they smell a predator around.
Amman, Nairobi, Bangalore, and Jerusalem as the
Same
latest.
shows on every station.
Every station?
It is the 18th reported crop site in that country in the last 72 hours.
I'm a little scared. All this stuff on TV. Joe Gills was in here talking about the end of the world.
They're staying in the shadows. It's called probing, to make sure things are all clear.
Clear for what?
for the rest of them.
There's a monster outside my room. Can I have a glass of water?
Ground forces are being assembled.
It's happening. Don't be afraid. It's like War of the Worlds. Believe it's going to pass. Don't be afraid. They're in the house. Here it comes. Don't be afraid.
So that was Signs from 2002. Movie doesn't hold up quite as well as what I remembered it, but definitely the themes of faith, definitely Mel Gibson's character regaining his faith by the end of the film, and I guess that's what M. Night Shyamalan movies do, is that there's some underneath the surface tone to them, that there's some moral dilemma that each character goes through, and this big event that happens in their lives happens them, get them back to their straight and narrow. I remember seeing this in the theater when it originally played. And I saw it with my cousin at the time. He had already seen it before, but he was willing to see it again. So we went to a nearby theater to see the film, and he forewarned me about the one sequence. He said, "This is the most scariest sequence in the movie. It is very, very frightening." And of course, it was the found footage scene, and yeah. But I just posted on Facebook the whole scene where Mel Gibson comes in and everybody in the family has the styrofoam helmets on, and it sounds like what's kind of going on right now. It's like, do we pack up and go, or do we stay? I said, yeah. Pertaining to Thanksgiving and Black Friday, that was the joke I was getting at. But yeah, I don't want to say I hate the movie. I do not hate the movie by any means, but I just don't think it holds up as well as what it has over the years. Of course, a lot of people do tend to agree with me on this, but they came to their conclusions much earlier than what I did. Of course, I haven't watched this in probably 10 years, actually. It was probably the first time in a long time I've actually put in this DVD and watched it. But yeah. But in the meantime, as I was watching it, I also finished my tree. So we'll take a look at that. So yeah, the whole time we were watching movies, at the same time I was putting this thing up. Yes, that is a surge protector down there. I only turn it on when I'm home. Of course, I don't have, my star is not plugged in. All decorated and everything. So I think we're going to wrap things up. This is from me to you. See you later.